Hello and welcome. Let us listen to today's topic, Woman Not in the Kitchen by Luzyana Jane.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Many of you have made a huge effort to join me today. Therefore, I deeply appreciate and offer you my most grateful welcome. Welcome to today's webinar with none other than Luzyana Jane. Hello, everyone. My name is Luzyana Jane, and for today's webinar, I will bring you an interesting topic. I will be sharing about the hot topic, women do not belong in the kitchen. Therefore, for this topic, we are going to have a look at gender equality in the restaurant industry. All right, let's get started.
Women have been linked with kitchen for decades because cooking is an area that women have been involved in. They have been the ones providing the family with nourishment by putting warm meals on the table.
Women are still expected to be the primary caregiver of their children besides from cooking. This goes back to the idea that women are biologically more nurturing and therefore naturally suited to raise children, even though their children also have fathers. The pressure and expectations placed on a mother are increasing because mothering is still the tradition when it comes to parenting. Raising a child is extremely challenging. Nevertheless, mothers in American society are expected to be concerned about their children perform well in school and well-rounded, where the mother must keep an eye out of their child's development. Mothers face a great amount of social pressure to follow this intensive mothering ideology, as this ideology is generally recognized as in the norms to proper parenting. Mothers who do not follow this way of parenting often face some social stigma. There are some persistent beliefs in the American society that suggest women are biologically the more nurturing of the gender. And what better way to nurture the family than through the nourishment of a home cooked meal? Moreover, along this line of thinking, the mother is the most suitable person to complete domestic tasks. Since the 18th and 19th centuries, a woman's role has largely been limited to as homemaker. To simplify, that it is a woman's role to take care of the house, the cooking, and the children. And while the woman plays the multiple roles of the housekeeper, mother, and cook, the husband is out of the house with a career and salary. These gender roles in American society simply means that women stay at home while men go to work. However, in our current world, women are not expected to fulfill their role as the mother of the household only because uh, they also have jobs and have careers. They do not belong to the kitchen, owing to the fact that many women hold jobs and have careers. Culturally, women have been expected to cook, and a woman's biological responsibility is to nurture the family through her cooking. People assume that women's dominance in the home kitchen would be reflected in professional restaurant kitchens, in which they would be able to transfer their domestic skills into the professional field. However, the number of female chefs in the restaurant industry suggests otherwise. To put in another way, in the world of today, women's place is not in the kitchen. In the field of cooking, which has been traditionally dominated by women, Women are still not equally represented in the higher restaurant kitchen positions. Even with the increase of women culinary graduates, for decades, men have controlled restaurant kitchens, distancing their work from the mere cooking that women have been doing at homes. At one of the most pervasive arguments to explain this situation is that professional kitchens are a boys' club, or in other ways, male-dominated organizations. Women still have to work on being accepted by the male chefs, even though they may have more access to male-dominated occupations. Furthermore, women have to become one of the boys that need to accept the informal work structure of men. For instance, they have to accept vulgar jokes and language, discrimination, and harassment. I strongly believe that women do not belong in the kitchen if they have to accept and play by the rules of boys' club. It becomes apparent that organizational structures are never gender neutral and thus push women out of the organization. These societal expectations of women, and in combination with other factors, prevent women's development and advancement in restaurant industry. There is not enough time and energy for much else when women socially expected to devote so much time to their children and home, since parenting is often referred to as a full-time job. In contrast, males do not face these time demands in which allows them to have more time to put into their careers and public life. Women face a variety of forms of informal discrimination in the restaurant kitchen. In male-dominated professions, such as in the restaurant kitchen, discrimination in many forms additionally works to hinder many women from advancing to the top positions in the culinary field. Men have overtly discriminated women that run in the restaurant kitchens. Women must actively work to be accepted in male-dominated settings. Many restaurants have been known for their militaristic style atmosphere, where restaurant kitchens have an informal boys' club ambience that women have to accept and adapt to. To fit in, women must adapt their behavior to this informal way of behaving. In a nutshell, women must accept things like vulgar humor, teasing, and harassment. Women find they have to actively work to confirm their capabilities in the kitchen because people that work in men-dominated settings frequently perceive women to be less valuable as well as less efficient workers. The belief that women are not as naturally capable to perform fundamental restaurant tasks and responsibility as easily or satisfactorily as men makes it difficult for a woman to even cross the starting point into a restaurant position. However, women do not belong in the kitchen to be discriminated. Therefore, women should work in other professional fields, and they do not belong in the kitchen. The kitchen is a hard place for women to succeed. In any profession where one wants to advance, it requires hard work, determination, practice, and so forth. This especially pertains to advancement within the restaurant kitchen hierarchy, where promotion is difficult to achieve. The actual structure of the kitchen oftentimes replicates a military brigade style with hierarchy of workers. This setup is supposed to ensure maximum use and organization of the kitchen, and the head chef really is almost like an autocratic ruler of the kitchen. Under the very direct control of the head chef, many lower chefs and cooks often feel they have no autonomy. Moreover, members of the kitchen staff work under intense pressure. For example, to work at the right pace, prepare food properly, and make sure it appeals to the senses, cooks have to be able to multitask, often having to prepare more than one item at once. They regularly work long hours, often into the late hours of the night and on the weekends. Hence, women do not belong in the kitchen. The pay is often low, especially at the beginning, and the benefits, such as insurance, are often non existent. Women's hard work and determination should be practiced and recognized in other professional industry that will allow them to succeed. Cooking in the restaurant kitchen is not really glamorous profession, and women are not able to express their culinary creativity in the way they desire, since they are restricted to preparing only items from the menu. The process of entering the kitchen to being promoted to executive chef can take years, usually at least 10 years. There are several positions and aspiring chefs must go through to make it to the executive chef level. Restaurant kitchen is a long and demanding career path to pursue, but there are more barriers to women in the advancement of chefs. Barriers exist in the organizational structure of the kitchen that hinder the advancement of female chefs. With men making up the majority of those represented in the top ranks, they are in the position to make decisions that will directly impact the lives of their employees of both genders. Organizational structures in the kitchen are created from the male's point of view, and which mean that there is no room for body processes in an organization. In addition, body processes of women such as pregnancy, menstruation, and expressing emotions do not fit in organizational structure or the idea of ideal worker. This gives men an advantage over women who experience less body processes and are assumed to be better able to handle emotions than women. In the restaurant business, there are few days off, insurance benefits are limited, and the hours are long and demanding. But women are still expected to be the primary caregiver for their child or children. This is a responsibility that must be balanced with their career, and women have to deal with the additional demanding responsibility of taking care of and raising the child. In addition, the years that it takes a cook to work their way up to the executive level are often the years that men and women begin to have children. However, cooks and chefs do not have much time outside of the kitchens since they work for long hours to be taken seriously and promoted. Restaurant industry is a competitive industry. Therefore, taking maternity leave and stay at home during the first month can be damaging to the chef career path, which means it is difficult to women regain entry in the restaurant kitchen after leaving for an extended period of time. This specifically impacts women who are still culturally expect to raise children and only have a certain biological time frame in which they can have children, in resulting of a way to for a female chef to display her determination and dedication. They will take a shorter maternity leave. There is no doubt that restaurant industry does not support motherhood, in which working in the kitchen is not the best occupation for women. In our society, perceptions of men and women serve as barriers to female advancements in the professional world. In addition, our society's definitions of what it means to be a great chef is also gendered. Women who act aggressively in their workplace is more likely to be perceived as malicious, arrogant women. Meanwhile, in direct contrast, an aggressive man is more likely to be perceived as the good leader. Often, women are perceived to be less competent and less efficient than men when it comes to management and leadership. And consequently, what have come to be labeled as masculine traits are often associated with competence and leadership. On the other hand, what have become labeled as feminine traits or femininity are often associated with incompetence. As a result, women in leading positions or aspire to be in those positions have to downplay their more feminine characteristic. In essence, women are perceived to be less efficient workers and leaders. However, when a woman attempts to adapt her behavior to be more masculine, she will be perceived as a malicious, arrogant woman. A woman's place is not in the kitchen, since restaurant industry could not accept a woman for being woman. Therefore, I honestly think that women should establish in other professional industry. Moreover, the perceptions of the way men and women chefs cook are different as well. If both a male and a female cook a plate of spaghetti, the woman's would be more likely described as cooked from the heart, and the man's is from the head. In simple words, a man's dish may be described as having intense, rich, or bold taste, while women's dish must be described as being homey, comforting, or prepared with love. The old stereotype that women have hearts and men have brains tells that the society view men's cuisine as more appetizing and women's cuisine as more comforting. To put it briefly, society's perceptions of what a great chef is coupled with reinforced stereotypical portrayals of men and women chefs work as barriers to prevent women from advancing and from being taken seriously in the kitchen. Women begin to slowly change the male-centered kitchen ideal that the long, grueling, physical, emotional, and stressful work that requires to reach the top position of a restaurant kitchen isn't what it means to be successful to women anymore. Moreover, women are rejecting the workplace that forces women out at higher levels. Instead, they are choosing to work in other areas of the culinary field, such as writing, catering, or pastry. These areas of the culinary field tend to be more flexible and allows women to be able to pursue their new definition of success without much of the male dominates in the restaurant kitchen. Alright, to sum up everything that has been stated, a woman's place is not in the kitchen. Women should not focus to be in the kitchen. It is true that women should work for their families. However, we should not restrict women to be in the kitchen. The society should give women the chance and opportunity to learn, explore, and flourish. To put it simply, allowing all women to be productive. Other than that, the restaurant industry that was originally dominated by women has become male-dominated professions. Women are not less efficient workers. People need to view women as more than inherently nurturing and openly emotional beings. No woman should be held back by other people's perception of them. or by outdated and discriminatory policies to define the roles of women. However, women are not fully supported in the kitchen industry because of the male-dominated organization. It is a competitive industry that does not allow women to achieve their goals and not to be a great worker. Therefore, women do not belong in the kitchen because there are many other professional fields that definitely allows women to climb the ladder of success.
Upon reaching the end of today's seminar, I would like to say thank you for joining and listening to today's topic, Women Not in the Kitchen. Women do not belong in the kitchen. A woman's place is not in the kitchen. I hope to see you again in the next seminar. Stay safe and stay vigilant. Goodbye and see you again.